1,000 years, the Galactic Assembly of Sovereign Civilization has governed the burning suns by providing a form of cooperation between the most advanced species of the galaxy. The longest peace in galactic history was achieved. A truly golden age of harmony and prosperity. Unfortunately, however well-intentioned their foundation, however principled its leaders, no civilization can endure forever. Eventually, inevitably, the assembly failed. Wars now spreading like wildfire, stifled by bureaucracy and paralyzed by insurrection. The assembly desperately tries to keep old grudges and new rivalries at bay, but unchecked greed, overweening pride, and perhaps something yet darker, threaten to consume the galaxy. As the member civilizations draw their battle lines and stake their claims to stars and systems, lives and loyalties are torn asunder. From Ava Aureli to Panancia, from Nomius to Madius, people who have only ever known peace and privilege must reckon with the new, harsh truth that the galaxy isn't a safe place as they once believed. Beyond the Assembly's control, though, an uncertain life is business as usual. For the freelancers and free spirit of Brimstone Base, home of Hellfire Pirates, risk is all in a day's existence. A little too close to the galaxy's incandescent heart, vexation is a toxic, superheated mess of a system, a perfect mess in which to disappear. Brimstone, buried deep beneath the sulphurous surface of Fury's Fall, is a lodestone for the disaffected, bounty hunters and runaways, thieves and smugglers, slaves and slavers, those for whom the suns don't shine. It's a dangerous place. Violence decides the pecking order. But someone always has a job for an enterprising mercenary, or a desperate one, and if your skill and luck hold, there's a lot of credit to be made, particularly now. War, after all, is good for business.
Welcome back, this is Board Game Officer. Today we are doing a preview of Rogue Angels, Legacy of Burning Suns, a game by Emil Larson, Sun Tzu Games. So, Rogue Angels is a character-driven, solo or co-op sci-fi dungeon crawler campaign adventure for 1 to 4 players. Each session is going to take about 1 to 2 hours. The game kind of blends engaged narrative with impact choices leading to multiple paths through various missions and personal journeys. Now, Rogue Angel is going to take you through stealth missions, search and rescue, infiltration, evacuation, sabotage, and much other different type of missions. And throughout your journey, the decisions you make will permanently shape your character's personality and their relationship with other individuals, opening and closing possible paths along the way. Then it does have a binding of all your map tiles. But there are 53 maps within this book, and this is prototype. Maybe this is all of them, I don't know. But either way, that is a lot of maps. But let's go ahead and jump into a quick setup. What does the setup look like? So jumping in before the setup, here it is going to have a little bit of a narrative telling you what's going to go on before that mission, and then it's going to come up to here for the mission layout there. And then it's going to tell you that you need to go to map 1, and then your team is going to go in there. You're going to add those closed doors. You're going to add that thing to activate the POI. Setup is pretty darn easy. So we would turn to map 1, go through our tokens, place the needed tokens where they need to go, placing them. So that is the quick setup for the board. Now let's go ahead and look at characters. On the TTS, I think there was about 16 different characters that they have. So I have 4 of them. And what you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the heroes that they have a description, history behind them, and what their types are, and like the healer, the supporter, the fighter, and everything of that such. So let's go ahead and choose Antithesis, who is a Leviathan, because he looks cool, that's why. Within his bag, 3 things. He's going to have a player's board, a relationship board that can be opened up to note his legacy parts for his character, and then the characters noted on the back with his name, as well as his little standee and player secret cards and icon. So first, let's go over this board here. So this here is the personality diagram, and the 4 personalities are, we have red is dominating, yellow is cautious, blue is supportive, and green is inspiring. So depending on the choices you make throughout the thing, you'll gain more personalities in one of these 4 aspects. Now, as you can see, 1 is already marked off for him within dominating, meaning at the beginning of the game, he will start with 1 token on that, and therefore that will be able to boost cards and stuff, as we'll go through it here in a little bit. So that is how you will create the character's personality. Then we've got a unique ability here that's just for this, and as you can see, there's spaces that you can increase those as the game goes on. We have focus, we have shields, and we have scar token. Focus is going to be used to re-roll the dice. Shields are what you would expect. They block damage until you have no more shields, then you start taking damage cards, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And then the scar marks is the campaign will tell you to make a scar or take a scar and you'll mark off one of these boxes or circles. Now, if all of these scars get filled in, this character is dead. Period. No more playing him. He's out of the game or out of the campaign until you restart the whole entire campaign over again. So this is like his ultimate death. These are shields. He takes damage, come back. Really, really neat there. And then here at the bottom is the cooldown track. This is a track that you're going to place your cards, and each turn it's going to slowly cool down until it comes back to your hand. We have our hand of cards. At all times, we'll have all of these cards in our hand. And as you can see, they all have numbers at the top. That number is where it goes on the cooldown track. Now, if I were to play this card, I place it down there, and then when I take a rest action or at the end of my turn, my free rest action, it slides off. Everything slides down. Since that one came off my board, I get it back. So looking at the card here, you've got a handful of things. One, so you have the cooldown number there. One thing to note as well, let's say I play this 2 here for my first action. My second action, I have another 2 card, but I cannot place it here. Only one card can be in each slot at a time. So that means I can place it in any one of my higher ones. So let's go over this card first here. We got that. That means that it's a movement card. Then we have how many dice we get to augment this ability with. And then this is a very basic move 1 space. Now as you see, 1 is in brackets. That means when we roll a dice, that 1 is the number that we're going to alter. This here is the dice. Obviously it is prototype. We've got a shield. That will increase your shields, obviously. We've got a +1 or shield, so you can add a +1 to whatever that ability was, or you can take a shield instead. You have a double movement that gives you 2 more movement that turn, a +1 or movement depending on what you need, and then you have a +1 and a +2. Now we'll do a little bit more intense one. Here it says 0 dice, so that means I don't get any dice to augment this ability. But now you see that some of these have things within its colors, and as you can see, these colors correlate with your personality diagram. So if you have a token on that personality, we'll use this card since I have red. So if you have a token there, you can spend that token to boost this card for that ability. And as you can see, there is still blank spots here. This is another way that you will upgrade your characters throughout the game, is you'll put stickers on some of these cards to increase your abilities in the cards that you already have. So as you can see, this game is all about character creation. So here we have the sequence. When it's your turn, you get to perform 2 actions, and these are the 3 actions that you can take. And here are the 3 actions that you can take 2 of. You could play 1 action card for 1 action. You could concentrate to gain 2 focus, or you could rest to move all cards on the cooldown track. And then after you perform 2 actions, or you don't have to do 2 actions, but when you choose to, at the end of turn, you get a free rest action where everything will go down 1. You will flip over your activation token, and then here at the bottom of the map here, they're going to tell you how many turns you have to go about this throughout the mission rulebook. So we'll move this marker down 1 to know that it's been 1 turn, so we know something's going to happen when we make it down to 0. That will be ran by the campaign book. Now you're going to do a mission check update. So in the mission, it's going to have mission parameters and success and triggers conditions. So after every hero's turn, you're going to come here and check to see if any of those mission success or triggers or conditions have been met. And then after that, then the enemy will go. Now one more thing that I wanted to talk about the cards. So we talked about that move. Then we have an interact card, and we have effect card. Those are the 3 type of cards that we have. So move is pretty straightforward. That's to move. Now interact cards, there's 2 type of interactions we could do. We could interact with objects, or we could interact with enemies, aka attacking enemies. Those are both considered interaction cards. So if you're going to interact with an object, as long as you're within range and line of sight, line of sight is from point to point, and as long as it's not blocked by a red line, it's line of sight. So as long as you're within line of sight and range of the card you are playing, what you are going to do to interact, which this is pretty unique to this game, I feel like. Every door, every object has to be hacked to be used, or unlock your door, or hack the computer, or hack something. And what you're going to do is you're going to have this baggie, and it's got 4 different colors in it. Now, it has 8 of each color, and then 4 of white. White is going to be your wild. What you need to do to successfully interact with anything in this game is you need 3 of a single color. So when this says interact with an object for 1, that means you are going to be able to draw 1 of those. You could roll to augment that number to more. So let's say I rolled a 2. So that means I get to interact for 3. I'm going to draw 3 tokens from this bag. And what you're going to want to do, you're going to draw 1 at a time. We have a red, we have a purple, and we have another purple. So like as I said, we need 3 to successfully interact with a door. So here we have a door. If we're interacting with this door, we'll place these 2 purples like that and place this red back in the bag. Now we'll have to do another interaction token. Let's just roll we rolled a +1 this time. So now we only get to draw 2. So all we need is one more purple. And I draw a white. A white, like I said, is wild. So that means I could use it, draw one at a time, so I could stop right there. Because if at any time during the action you draw 2 whites, the whole thing is canceled and everything goes back into the bag. So we successfully interacted. What we're going to do, we're going to take these 3, we're going to set them to the side and keep them out of this bag until the end of the mission. And that there is a interact with object. The other interact is damage, which is just an attacking, nothing special there. As for the last card is effect. This means that this ability is going to be in effect the entire time it is on the cooldown track. As soon as it leaves the cooldown track, that is not in effect anymore. Alright, now as I said, after that we have our enemy turn, red or yellow. There's going to be 2 colors of enemies here, and the mission here is going to tell you EBC, which is enemy behavior card, is going to be self-destruct sequence. So we're going to come through here and find self-destruct sequence. We'll take that card, and that card is what is going to be activated until the mission brief tells us to change. It will start on the red side if there's red monsters. So the enemies are going to activate. Highest initiative go first. And then as you can see, this is red initiative 1, red initiative 2, and then there's an exclamation mark. This is only active when this condition is met. And then at the end of your turn, it'll flip over and the yellows will activate that next turn. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about here is, as I talked about before, the shields. So if I get my shields all the way knocked down to 0 and I still get attacked for another damage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a card off the top of this shuffled up damage deck. So I'll flip over the top one and this is what it's going to go. It's going to go into my number 3 slot. This says that it's a damage card, the severe concussion. Now this is something super interesting about this game, is these are mode of how hard you want the game to be. Meaning this is normal, add in this ability if you want to play on hard, add in this ability if you want it to be on insane mode. So this one tells us, when drawn, lose 1 focus. So if we had 1 focus, we would lose 1 focus, and then place this card on the 3 slot there. So what this does is basically clumbers up our cooldown track, so it's harder for us to play turn. Now, if our board looks like this, and we are to draw another card here, if you cannot place it down on the number, you'll go to the next highest. So that means that'll be placed there. And we got 1 more, and now, as you see, we cannot place this damage card out on the board. That is how we are unconscious. So we'll take this, we'll discard that card there, and we are unconscious. We stay on the board, but you don't do anything. A player has to come and heal you. They'll heal you by taking one of these cards away. As soon as you have a slot open, you are conscious again, and you could play as normal. 2 things to note with this. Let's say you have an ability down right there, and you are to place this on the 4th cooldown track. This will actually send this card back to your hand. There are a lot of mission parameters and mission checks and successes throughout it, meaning the mission will change depending on what you choose in the middle of a mission. So that there is Rogue Angel. It is coming out onto Kickstarter within the next week or 2 of me posting this video. Therefore, I will put the link down in the comments below. Go ahead, check it out. Go ahead. I am going to be doing a how to play and a playthrough video of this, so please stay tuned for those, and I will see you